This is a presentation on some work I've done with a student of mine, a former student of mine, Yiping Huang, and it's work that we did of analyzing life story interviews that Yiping conducted, and she conducted these interviews with Asian international students who were teaching at IU. So she was interested in their life stories and what it was like to be at IU teaching undergraduates there. Some of you were at the talk the other day and some of you weren't. Most of you weren't. The other day the talk went a little bit into the idea of the negative in Hegel's philosophy. We got to that through talking about what Kant called the transcendental I. And so what I'm about to talk about to you now is related to that. So the first thing I want to say to you is when I say consciousness or transcendental I, or just I, if you have a picture in your mind of what that means, then you don't have it correctly. The I is the absolutely not object. It's the pure subject that isn't an entity, doesn't have qualities. It simply is not object. And in our experience of objects and other phenomena, the I is always in contrast with those. If we shift from Kant to Hegel, then the idea is that the next possible action that we can take in relation to an experience we're having, that's the I, the next possible action. So if you think of experience as involving kind of moments where we're fused or we're embodied, we're embedded within something that we're not aware of because we're embedded within it. At any moment we're in the midst of some kind of action that we're doing, a thought, a shift in awareness, a body movement, something like that's always going on. And when we can objectivate that, make it other than us, that's when you get a separation of I from what you formerly had been embedded within. I hope that makes some sense. Maybe it doesn't, but we'll see. Just remember, when we use the words consciousness or I, if you get a picture in your mind of a little thing that somehow is aware of other things, that's not it. We're talking about the bare principle of not being objective. This paper, Yiping came up with the idea of applying what's called first and second negation in Hegel's philosophy to life story interviews. In Hegel's philosophy, first negation is the way that we determine something to be what it is, as opposed to other possible things. So when we understand that we're looking at a chair, we implicitly understand a structure. We implicitly have a structure in mind so that we understand how a chair is different from a table, different from a couch, different from a non-artifact, a natural object like a rock. So there's a structure of negations. A more clear example might be color. When we're aware of something that's blue, we're implicitly aware that it's not red, it's not white, it's not yellow. And we're simultaneously aware on a different level of structure that it's a color. When we're aware of blue as blue, we're aware of it as a color. And that's again part of a structure. And this involves first negation in Hegel's philosophy.